Good morning, and Zhao Shanghao from a particularly frosty Hohhot today. I'm out in the modern east of the city at the moment. Behind me is the main government building of the city. We've got a huge Bank of Communications building here. And just further down the road is Wanda Guanshang, a huge sort of residential and commercial district of the city. Where we're heading today couldn't be further from this place, at least culturally anyway. We're heading out to the tiny mountain village of Haragan, which is a village that means quite a lot to me, and I will explain more later. So I've got my 1 yuan with me, and I'm going to jump on the bus up to the mountains, up to Haragan. All aboard the 103 to Haragan. Goodbye modernity. Hello traditional China. Got my 1 yuan, 10 pence to get to the mountains. Well, that wasn't the best start. Because I pay with cash, you know, sometimes I have to sort of write down when I'm on the bus my details. But this time it was just so difficult. They were telling me to pay with WeChat Pay, which I don't have because I don't have a bank account. My Alipay wouldn't work. So fortunately a kind gentleman helped me, and I'm on the bus now. I'm not looking forward to getting back on the bus. It used to be so easy before the virus. Just put your 1 coin in and you're sorted. Anyway, I digress. I know a lot of you want to see the modern Hohhot and the, you know, the modern construction and stuff, and I will film more in the city, I promise you. But just, it's difficult when that's all you see every day. It's difficult to work out what's exciting to see, you know. For me, the villages are exciting because I rarely go out to them. It's like my treat on my day off. But in the meantime, before I film anything there, I'll recommend 2 channels to you. The first one is my friend Doug. He films some fantastic cityscapes in the city, beautiful 4K shots. So I will link to his profile down in the bio, and also to my friend Courtney, who's not in China anymore, but she came out to Hohhot at a similar time to me, and she filmed some fantastic vlogs around the city. So I'll link to both of them if you want to see the city, and then in future I will film some more in the modern area. But for now, fingers crossed, we will get to Haragan. Well, that was difficult, and I really don't understand why. Usually I just jump on with my note or my coin, and there's no issues, but today it was a bit tougher. I'm not looking forward to getting back. I got on at the city and it was tough enough, so getting on in the middle of nowhere might be a bit tough. On the plus side, they didn't take any money off me in the confusion of it all, so that's 10 pence saved. Anyway, we won't let it put a dampener on things. We'll face that when we get there. For now, welcome to the peaceful and tranquil mountain village of Haragan. Let's go and explore, shall we? There's one for the guys who joined me from the Numtots forum. Smash the cars. Now, Haragan is just one of a number of little villages that sort of scatter the feet of the mountains to the north of Hohhot. But this one in particular holds quite a special place in my heart. And unfortunately, I'm going to slightly change the tone of this vlog, I'm afraid, so I apologise for that. But I, you know, more than anyone, I'm a huge proponent of you know, going and living somewhere else. You know, being an expat is, or an immigrant, or whatever you want to call us, is one of the best things you can ever experience. You know, really immerse yourself in a culture that's so alien to yours. It teaches you so much about yourself, about the world, and I really would recommend it to everyone. But there's no avoiding the elephant in the room, and that is the fact that we are very far away from, you know, the people we love and our comforts, our home comforts. And I'm sure every expat will tell you the same. You know, there are days when that distance really shows, you know, and that never felt more true to me than at the start of this year, 2020. So I came back to China sort of at the end of last year, and you know, I had everything in place. I was ready to move in about 3 months time or so, and then we got the news that my grandmother was quite unwell. You know, my grandmother was a remarkable woman. She was born in Belgium, you know, during sort of war times, and spent her early years, you know, crossing borders and, you know, moving to new places for safety. And for a lot of people, I think that would, you know, give them some bitterness in their heart. But my grandmother spent the rest of her life as a true sort of anti-poverty crusader, really. She you know, lived and worked in Malawi in Africa for many years. My whole life she worked at the local church, running a fair trade stand. You know, up until, you know, the very end, she was there week in, week out, selling these fair trade products. You know, I really admired that about her. And she, more than anyone, really instilled this sense of adventure in me, you know, to go out and experience more than just our hometown. You know, she had seen some incredible sights, and she spoke about them so frequently to me from a young age, about her time in Singapore, about her time in Africa, you know, all these wonderful places she'd been to and seen and learnt from. So that news hit me hard. You know, naturally it would hit anyone hard. And you know, this was 2 or 3 months before I was meant to be coming back to China, and I spoke to her about it, and she said, you will absolutely still be going to China. Don't be cancelling moving back to China because of me. You know, so I did. You know, I moved back. So, you know, time rolled on, as it does, and my departure date approached, and you know, eventually it got to the day when I was coming back. So that evening I went round to visit my grandmother, and we sat and we spoke for hours. She got the picture albums out, showed me like baby photos of my dad in Africa and stuff like that. And then I had to do something which, you know, I guess in many ways I'm quite lucky to have been able to have done this. I had to, you know, say goodbye for the last time, knowing it was the last time. And it's a strange feeling, really. You know, I felt numb, really. But you know, I was lucky. I got to have that last hug, knowing it was the last time and knowing how special it was. But anyway, you might be wondering what that has to do with Haragan. So a few months later, I was in China. I was at the Wanda shopping centre that I mentioned before with my friends Frida and Zankina, and we were having dinner. And I got a text from my brother, the text that I had been dreading but expecting. So we finished up dinner, and I went home, and I went to bed, and I woke up the next day, and I just thought, man, what am I going to do today? So I did what I do. You know, I pulled out my map, I put a pointer on the map, looked at what bus could get me there, and it turned out that village was Haragan. And I walked with my earphones in, just, you know, absent-mindedly, and in the distance there was this sort of, like, it looked like a golden beacon, really. So I just walked towards that, and I just kept walking and came across this. And the doors were open, so I went in and just had a look around, and there was this one little sort of meditation spot sort of in the corner of the temple, and I just headed there, and I sat there for what felt like an hour, you know. And, you know, I should preface this by saying, really, you know, I'm not a religious person, and I'm not a Buddhist. I agree with a lot of the things that come from Buddhism. You know, I believe meditation can really offer you quite a lot, if not spiritually, then at least mentally. I believe very strongly in ahimsa, you know, causing as little harm as you can to all living life, which is why I don't eat meat. But on that day, you know, it almost made me laugh as I was leaving, because my grandmother was very religious, but she wasn't a Buddhist. You know, she was a Christian. But it felt, it sounds so strange to me as someone from a scientific background, you know, it felt like almost a sign. There's just this golden beacon on the mountainside that I walked to, and found this perfect spot to just sit and think and reminisce. And, you know, after that, you know, the world was right again, and I felt good again. I felt peaceful, and I thought, you know what, I did do the right thing coming back here, and I will make her proud. You know, I will carry out that legacy. So this is the reason that Haragan, this tiny village that I suspect not many foreigners have been to, means so much to this one random 25-year-old guy from Birkenhead. It's amazing how some places can just instill that feeling in you. You know, it's a feeling that's so hard to describe, and I'm sure you have all experienced it, where you just, everything feels bigger, you know, or smaller. I don't know, it's hard to describe. I guess it makes you feel almost insignificant, but in a good way, you know, in a way where you realize it doesn't really matter that you might not be where you want to be right now, or you might not be in the place where you set goals for yourself when you were 18 or 19, because we're all just, you know, here for a fleeting time. And this place really makes me feel like that, you know. It's been almost a year since I was here last, and I feel no different. And it's good to be back, really. It really is amazing the things you can see and find if you just really get out of your comfort zone, and if you're willing to face moody bus drivers or confused locals who, to be fair, in Haragan are always more than keen to have a chat, but probably not so much if I pulled the camera out. But yeah, Haragan. It's a tiny village. What a place. Let's have a bit more of a look around. The temple is the main feature of this village, but there's still, maybe not plenty to see, but still stuff to see. Even this place, Haragan, will not be immune to being swallowed up by the rest of the city one day. Now, if we just look out across the horizon, you see the city, creeping ever closer. And I can't blame the locals for wanting that. I've seen it in areas of the city like Dong'an or Wanjian or Jinqiao, areas that were former villages like this, where the locals receive big payouts for allowing that land to be turned into larger commercial land, and the locals, they go on to live very happy and comfortable lives with this newfound wealth that they receive. I'm just a tourist here for a second and gone, but it makes me sad that not everyone will be able to experience this. But hey, life rolls on and people have got to find places to live. And in a place like China, it's going to keep growing. And in a place like Hohhot in particular, it's going to keep rolling on, and the construction's needed. And we will lose our Haragans of the world. So let's appreciate them now while we can. There won't be many goats walking around when it's all Starbucks and Subway and huge skyscrapers with premium views of the mountains. But for now it is still Haragan, and I'm glad it is. And I'll miss it when it's gone, that's for sure. Let's refuel and reflect. And then head out a bit further into Haragan, and then face that dreaded bus journey back and grab some lunch. Just before we go, I just want to show you something. So I always carry a flask of hot water with me, and it's 71 degrees in there. Now the seals come off a bit, so it starts to leak, and the 71 degree water has frozen to my bag. And we're not even in the thick of winter yet. Why did I choose to live somewhere where 71 degree water can freeze on my bag? I should have moved to Greece or something, shouldn't I? One of the really great things about exploring in China, or I keep saying in China, what I mean is in Inner Mongolia. I've not seen all that much of the country outside of this huge vast province. But at least in Inner Mongolia, even when you're out in the sticks like this, there's always a lovely modern public toilet not too far. Might not be the most exciting thing in the world, but you're never going to be caught short anyway. And you don't really want to go outside when it's -10, -15. Oh man, the icy winds are really picking up now. I think my nose is starting to freeze a bit, so I think we might call it a day soon. I really need some food. I actually spent my Chinese New Year in Baotou, the next city on from here, last year. Again, out in the sticks in a place like this. It was great. Staying with my friend Molly and her family. And yeah, it was very similar to this place. And a lot of the houses look quite similar to what I just showed you there. I didn't want to stay about too long in case the owner came out. But yeah, I mean, the way the houses tend to work here is they're sort of self-contained units with a sort of little courtyard in the middle where maybe they'll keep animals, or you know, dry food, or just hang out and gather with their family and friends. That's a sort of way of life out here towards the farms. And many of the people are farmers. You know, they live in the little villages, but they have farms sort of in and around the villages, usually rearing sheep for mutton, or maybe cows for milk, this being the dairy capital of China. How old do you reckon this is? Older than me, I suspect. Seriously in the Wild West now. Or Wild East, really. Wild North, I guess. Northeast. Right, let's find a bus, head home and get some food. And we're back to modernity. Back to the modern constructions, and the hustle and bustle, and the traffic, and the people. Oh well, thank you Haragan for being you. Let's finish it off with how every good adventure should finish. A nice, good, hearty, and cheap, of course, meal. Not in some skyscraper though. I mean, I know we're back in civilization, but this is still me. I know a nice little backstreet cafe just down the road. So go grab some food there and call it a day. Right, thanks for sticking with me as I reminisced in Haragan. Gonna tuck into this, a local student favourite. Honestly, I can't recommend enough. Anywhere you go, find out where the students eat. They're savvy when it comes to money, and they don't eat crap, you know. They eat good food. So keep your likes, keep your views, keep your comments, keep your subscriptions coming if you haven't already. I am still new to this, so I'm happy to take any recommendations. But for now, until next time, see you next week. 再见 from Hohhot.